How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another video. This one is actually pretty different. This is actually a recorded coaching call from one of my students, Teddy, who's actually been following the YouTube content for about 6 months now and just recently pulled the trigger to work with me one-on-one, and we're growing his social media marketing agency together. We've already gotten him a team member who's gonna help deliver results for his clients, and we're now starting to see a lot of meetings coming into his calendar, and this is only within about 2 calls, which is very cool. A lot of my best students come from one-on-one. People like Bastian Salat, who went from 0 to about 40 grand in profit, Keaton Walker from 0 to about 12 grand a month in profit, Colin Turner, who just recently hit 6 figures in profit yearly, Sam Lepcha recently hit 6 figures in profit yearly. Obviously the course is also really good. We've got a lot of people seeing a lot of success from it as well. And so I wanted to go ahead and share with you guys a recorded coaching call that I actually had today as I'm recording this video. I hopped off this call and I was like, I think this would be a good call to put up on YouTube. So I just sent my editor the link. I'm recording this video for my editor to use as the intro. And I said, hey man, put this up later when you can. So on this call, and I wanted to record this just to give you context for the call, okay? So Teddy's actually focused primarily on the real estate niche. So he wants to help agents grow their practice, okay? Which is a great niche. And I have a lot of students actually doing really well in it. I've got like Sam Lepcha, who's generating like literally a meeting a day using these sales principles that we teach sort of applied to a LinkedIn like environment. So he's using LinkedIn software and he's just crushing it, okay? And so literally meeting a day, I think he's got like 8 grand locked in business for February, plus tons more lined up. So yeah, he's killing it, and Teddy is modeling after him while also working with me to make sure that he does it right. And in this call, we talked a lot about sales. And we talked about like how a sale doesn't actually happen on the call. A sale happens long before the call, and how to eliminate objections before they even come up, and how to actually do market research so that you're positioning yourself properly in front of your niche and making sure that what you say actually speaks to what they want to hear in order to work with you. Because what most people will do is they won't mirror their niche. They will mirror what they see other agency owners doing, which is fine if the agency owner you're modeling is a smart person and is making a lot of money, but you don't know that. So the best thing you can do is actually go to your niche, learn about them, and mirror the objections and mirror the issues that they're having. Okay, and that's an important element of sales here. Like to think that you know everything and think that you can just model people who are doing it. Sorry, there's an ambulance. I swear there's like an ambulance every time I record a freaking video, right? There's a problem with that though, right? There's a problem with modeling people you see doing it and not just mirroring what your niche needs, okay? And so I talk about that with them. I also talk about building proper workflows and processes so that everything that you do is streamlined. So you're only doing what you can do in your agency. You're not focusing on anything else. You're not worried about anything else. You're not worried about, like tiny, minute issues that don't really actually move the needle for you. How to actually focus on what matters, which is generating meetings, getting better at the meetings, and getting results for the people who you close, which is what I teach in the course as well. Those are the only 3 things that matter, okay? And how to keep that the main thing. And then lastly, and probably most importantly, we talk about sort of some mindset issues that he's dealing with. So I think this is a really valuable video. I think you should watch it in full. And just take notes along the way. I don't really drip coaching calls very often. I'm going to start to do more of that as we move forward because I think it's a really good source of like just genuine content. And it's also very clear to me that, it's the most pure content I could put out because it is literally me talking to you in the form of you who paid. You paid for this, and so this is what you need to hear. And because you paid for it, it must be exactly what the rest of my audience who may or may not have paid needs to hear as well. Okay, and that's how you kind of have to think as a marketer. You have to think, all right, what has been paid for and how do I scale that? Right, and that's how you grow an agency too. Like you don't try and fix it if it isn't broken. Right, so that's why I'm trying to drip more coaching calls because I think it's just like the best content I could put out. So that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to watch it in full and let me know what you think in the comments. If you are ready to work with me one-on-one, similar to Teddy in this video, you've got a link in the comments or the description where you can actually schedule a call with myself or a team member, and we'll see if you're qualified. It'll likely be me, but as I scale, I have to put people in place, right? To see if you're qualified. If you're qualified, we'll get going. All right. But also, if you just want all of the recordings from every single student I've ever worked with, another ambulance. If you want all the recorded calls from all the students I've ever worked with in like a drive, you can actually get that in the course. So we have that in the course. Every single student I've ever worked with that has consented to having their calls in the course, which is pretty much like 95% of them, including people I talked about earlier, like people who are like 40 grand a month. You can get those with the course purchase. So that link is in the description as well. Okay. Plus we have a whole mindset section, a whole agency workflow section. We've got a sales training section coming, and we actually have my personal media buyer in my agency teaching a Facebook ads training there too. So it's a freaking banging course. All right. So check that out if you get the chance. It costs about $1,000 and it's worth every penny. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoy this video. Watch it till the end, and let me know what you think in the comments. And if you want to discuss anything, be sure to leave a comment down below. All right. Enjoy. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Trey, what's up? You hear me?
Hey, how you doing, Teddy?
Oh, well, how are you?
Doing good. Having a pretty great day, actually. Yeah, doing great.
Yeah, very good. Glad to hear it.
How about yourself?
Not bad. Just got home from work, like literally 10 minutes ago.
Cool. What is your day job? Have you told me what you're doing?
Construction.
Construction. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, so you probably had a longer day than I did, man. I got up pretty early this morning. So my brother just shipped out to Army National Guard. So this morning we just, gave him a hug. I won't see him for about 8 months. So it's been a crazy day, man.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, it's wild. And then after that, I had a couple client calls. Had some issues with the client this morning, but they're all resolved now, which is honestly a better feeling than having just a client where you never have to talk to them. It's cool to like work through things with the client. It just builds a lot of trust,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then besides that, it's been like a $2,000 day today, which is cool. So
Sweet.
Yeah, things are chugging. But yeah, man.
You run an agency. You have multiple things, right? You run an agency like I'm trying to build myself, the same format.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I a lot of people ask me if I do, and I've tried to figure out how I make that more clear in my content. I do, and I think it's really important that people know that. It's surprising to me that as many people work with me and aren't 100% clear on what my agency does and my clients and who I work with. But I guess I just don't talk about it as much as I talk about the theory behind it, So it's interesting.
Yeah, I knew you had one. I thought maybe you left that and started now helping others.
No, I still run it, man, because I think it's really important that I'm learning the lessons along the way. Because if I just focused on education, I'd get pretty out of touch pretty quick.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm always kind of like teaching purely from experience, like nothing else, and then also obviously observing successful students and learning from them as well.
Mm-hmm. Stay in the game so you can stay fresh on what's working.
Exactly. So I have to be running my own, and then I'll observe successful students and model what they're doing too, which I think is really healthy, and it's like a good feedback loop, and even students, like revenue is not the only thing for me. Like, a student who's doing like 6 or 7 grand a month, but they have a team that is getting insane results, is almost more valuable to me than like a guy who's at like 30 or 40 grand a month, but like they're firing clients left and right. So it's like we've got a lot of measures and a lot of measuring sticks as to what makes an agency valuable. And so that's where I come in at bringing the most value. Because if I were just running my agency and just teaching what I do, there'd be a problem. So it's that mix between what I do and what I've seen to work, plus what my students are doing, what I've seen to work for them, plus the mixed experience, and then the one-on-one of knowing really where you're at and what you need in the moment. So that's, I think, yeah. No, that. I mean, you've already paid me, but
Yeah.
That's kind of where I operate from.
And you probably all have the same, like a lot of parallels.
Parallels. Yeah. So like running the education branch is very much parallel to the agency. It's client attraction systems and client results systems. Like it's just systems. And the only bridge between the two is how you sell and how you position the offer and the product and the service.
Yeah. It is kind of that simple because since we last spoke, I've had a contractor already kind of just like ready to go, I guess you could say, but I made it a point now to really like touch base with him and really get clear on his system and what he can do. That way I can relay that to the people I'm trying to work with. Sound confident. And but again, I guess really all it is like the people I do speak to, they just want to know what I can do for them.
Yep.
And you know, pretty much that's it. So it's like you said,
It
attracting.
really is really simple. It really is really simple. You're completely right what you're about to say. Sorry, I kind of interrupted you, but you're totally right. It's 80% attracting those people, you know, because I think that's the game. It's that 0 to 1 game of attracting those people. And that's why I love the Facebook group method, OMA. I don't know how far you are into the course, but organic market attraction and that method, it's cranking for some students, man. I got Colin Turner, and all he does all day right now, not all day, he probably does it 3 or 4 times a month. He'll put out a post in a Facebook group. He's found 1 or 2 that work really well. He shares screenshots from, I think, like a WooCommerce store or a Shopify store or something like that. And he says, hey, we generated this much. And then he also shows ad spend. And that's just results his contractor got, or maybe some results from his clients now that he has clients. But when he was starting, it was just contractor results. And then he got, you know, people knocking on his door, sending him messages, add him as a friend. He followed up with everybody that commented, liked, and added him as a friend. And that's the platform he built. And I think he's 19 and doing 6 figures profit yearly right now with 1 contractor. Yeah. So it's a really viable method, man. And it's all about, you know, business scales very easily. You know, the bigger problem you solve, the more you get paid. And so one of the biggest breakthroughs I make for a lot of my students, especially when they've been especially when they're young, impressionable, and they've worked a job the whole time, like a big thing for me is like, you don't get paid on your time, you get paid on your value. It's a big thing that people don't realize. So like Colin, he's not really spending that much time on his clients, but they're getting a lot of value, which is measurable, numerical. It's money. Money's valuable, you know, and he gets a piece of that, you know, and it's really that simple. And to overcomplicate it much further blurs the picture of what we're really doing here, which is making businesses more money and taking a piece of what we make them using modern tools to do so.
Right. Like I think since I'm pretty, I feel like I got 1/2 down, whereas I got a contractor I feel confident in.
Yeah, good. That's really good.
I feel like I know his methods enough to explain them well.
Uh-huh.
He has a lot of screenshots of past results, like you said, ad spend and leads generated and everything like that. He's got a couple testimonials, which I guess I'm okay to use as long as he tells me that I'm okay to use them.
Yeah, straight up. Just ask for his permission very casually. Hey, you know, do you mind if I represent you as a part of my agency and use these to get clients?
Yeah, I think he's actually suggested it himself before, so he should be fine with that. I don't see why not.
Sweet. Yeah, there's almost no reason not to. Some people just are weird about it, you know? Yeah.
So I guess the other half would be pretty much just putting that in front of people, explaining to them what it is, how it's going to work for them, and letting them decide whether or not they feel like it's worth the investment.
You've got it. I mean, it's really that simple. And I think the further you get away from how simple you just made it, the more complex you're going to make it unnecessarily.
Right, because like when people ask me like, you know, oh, so what are you going to do for me? Rather than going into the whole, like I think we spoke about this on the last call, rather than being too detailed about how you're going to do it, just tell them we can help you take a lot of your plate.
Yep.
We can get you.
Yeah. Because another thing is you don't sell the process. So that's been a big thing for me, even as a coach. So like so here's the thing, man, is for example, in our relationship already, you know, you wouldn't buy my time if I just pitched my time. You know, people like, you know, I gave you a discount, but people wouldn't pay that price just to sit next to me. Like there's nothing valuable with my time inherently for you. It's what does it do? What's the ultimate outcome if things work the way you're wanting them to? And that's what you're paying for. And it's the same thing with agency clients. You know, so you kind of put yourself in the shoe. So you can learn a lot by looking at your past purchases. Why did I buy that? You know, and like for me, I learned the most about selling when I invested in somebody who sold me well, you know, and I realized the reason why I bought their thing is not because I even wanted the thing. It's because I wanted the outcome of the thing. Like courses, coaches primarily is a great example of that, you know, and so if we can attach our service to whatever outcome it is. So like with my agency clients, you know, a lot of these people are people with big platforms and they see that they can make a whole lot more money. But they just need like a team to manage the back end. Or also we can do cold traffic for them as well and just generate paid traffic if they've got a really spanking good product with a lot of authority behind it. We can do that too. And so when they know they've got a good product, but they just don't know how to bring it to market, or they've got a big platform and they don't know how to monetize it, or, you know, primarily as well, if they're an expert in a field and they know they're an expert, but they can't figure out how to sell that expertise. Those are the three fields where we come in. So I've never positioned myself as a Facebook ads for your course guy. I've positioned myself as make the kind of money you deserve making and have a team who supports you in doing it. You know, if you've got expertise, if you've got a platform, if you've got a product that you love and know could impact lives, let's sell it together, man. I'm just as passionate as you are about taking experts directly to market. And so that's my pitch. You know, it's not Facebook ads. Facebook ads is massively necessary in that process because of our workflow and how we've grown our agency. But my pitch isn't, we'll run your Facebook ads for you. It's, you're an expert. And I firmly believe in my head, there's no reason if you have even just one step ahead of your industry, you can sell that step and make minimum 6 figures in income. Nonetheless, you know, I want all my clients at 7 figures profit yearly. You know, there's no reason it's not happening.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
And I suppose in the same frame for, like, as I'm dealing with real estate, I can frame it similarly where I can say something along the lines of, like, your main passion is to find the perfect home for an individual.
Right.
Like,
and you like, especially those who love their craft. Like, you know, like I think that'd be reasonable to do. Like, market research includes, why are you doing what you're doing, man? Like, you know, like, why are you in real estate? You know, and if you've been getting a lot of common answers, I'm in real estate because I love helping families find a place to live. I think that's very meaningful. I love working with newlywed couples, for example, you know, and then when you find that a lot of real estate agents per se like working with newlywed couples, well, then maybe you're a newlywed couple lead gen agency.
you can kind of like niche down and
exactly. You pitch, and it's exactly. And I would, niche down is a good phrase for it, but I would use the phrase like mirroring your market. Like, you got to be very in tune with their desires that they may not speak to potential customers, but they'll speak it to somebody who's helping them work their dream job.
All right. Yeah. And if those are the types of people they love working with, you can then say, well, then let me bring these people right to you, and let you focus all of your energy on what you love doing, which is connecting with them, getting to know them, and
exactly
finding them their dream home.
That's it, man. Yeah. And so when you can sell the outcome, like, I've got a buddy, his name's Jordan, and his agency specializes in wedding photographers. And I used to be a wedding photographer. And so he's like, he told me, we have helped over 50 wedding photographers start to go global with their wedding photography, which is a huge dream for a lot of photographers. They love travel. They love destination weddings. It's like an experience. Like, you're getting paid and you're making a lot of money. And also it's just so much fun, you know, and that's where I was at as a wedding photographer. I loved it. And so he basically has positioned himself not as, hey, we'll help you get more weddings. Like, you can do that with any wedding listing website. There's there's a website called Wedding Wire where you can find vendors. The Knot, you can find vendors. You can hire them, use their platform. So basically says you can either go to The Knot or go to Wedding Wire, or you can work with an agency that specializes in getting you the types of weddings you want to shoot. Elopements. You know, a lot of people like shooting elopements, just the bride and groom on like a cliffside. It's beautiful. It's really fun. You know, we'll take you to Venice. We'll target people who are wanting to plan their wedding at a destination that you'd like to travel to with your wife or something, you know? So that's how they position it. It's not just more business. It's more business plus what you want your business to look like, plus what you want your life to look like because of that business. So yeah, you're spot on in saying that. And I think the closer you can get to matching your offer to that pitch as well, because it's not just a pitch, you really do have to fulfill these sorts of needs. That's when clients will just like, they'll pay you anything you ask. You know, we've had clients take out a line of credit to work with us because my pitch is rock solid.
Yeah, I think I learned that if you can, it was said, I think if you can touch them emotionally, then you can really, like you said, you can close them.
Yeah, emotionally and logically, you got to cover both grounds. Logical is easy because ROI is measurable. Give us $5,000, we'll make you back 10, whatever. That's a very easy logical sale, but that doesn't sell everybody, you know, because not everybody just wants to make more money. A lot of people want to make more money doing something they love, and most people are that way, you know, like, and not just do what they love, but make more money in a way that allows them to continue to live a lifestyle that they enjoy or begin to live a lifestyle they enjoy, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's where most people are at. Yeah. And especially real estate agents, because a lot of them get in there because they want to have that freedom. So it's really good to push that for them.
Yeah, that's an angle I like to take whenever it comes up, is that a lot of them, I find they might be misled in the beginning that getting into the business of real estate, they'll have a ton of free time only to find out that they have no time because they're scrambling to do everything.
Yeah.
And a lot of time they're doing everything and nothing's coming of it.
And see, that's your pitch right there, man. Like that is a better pitch than, so not a better pitch than, mix that pitch with the logical, the ROI. And that's a pretty sturdy foundation to make a sale off of.
Yeah, I gotta keep that one in mind, write that down.
Yeah.
And sneak that in whenever the opportunity comes up. Because everyone wants more free time.
Yeah.
Or time to do things that they feel are important to them, business-wise or in their personal lives.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
A couple things since we last spoke that happened I want to get your opinion on. I had a call with one lady, and like off the bat, she seemed pretty skeptical, which I understand because she doesn't know who I am. I don't have anything out there about me, and a lot of the questions were, well, she started off asking me, so what do you do? How does it work? And I explained. She asked me certain questions like, how many meetings, how many of your leads turn into meetings? And I gave her the percentage that that my contractor gave me. Really all I can do. Then she started asking me questions that I really don't know how to handle it. She was like, well, how do I know you're real? And I was like, because I don't have a website. She was like, you have a website?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, we don't have a website. We kind of just like to keep things slim and focus on what's important. I like to make connections and, I said something like that off the top of my head. And she was like, oh, how do I know? It's like, you have a team. How do I know who your team is? How do I know that I'm not going to pay you and you're just going to vanish? That kind of caught me off guard. I was like, oh man, I didn't really know how to handle that one.
Well, that's the thing. If you start to get that response a lot, so here's the thing, man, is the sale happens long before the call. And that's one thing that I've internalized a lot for what I'm doing. I think we talked about this on a previous call, but like,
right.
You're selling each step of the way. So it may be worth breaking those. Now that you have let me say this. If you start to get that objection a lot, it may be worth addressing on the front end of your content. It may be worth putting out a LinkedIn post saying, hey, here's my team, boom, boom, boom. Here's a little page. Just build a basic landing page, a website, call it a website. If it really is an objection, why people aren't working with you, then that's when a website might become necessary. But until then, it's really not. So but again, one call is not a true data point for me, or it is a data point, but it's not a viable decision. It's one call. So if you get that a lot, then you may take that false belief that they have, or those issues that they have, or those objections, and begin to build that into your front end. It's like one thing that I ran into a lot with my coaching people to start their agency was people like, oh, well, Trey, obviously getting agency clients for you is easy because you've got like a YouTube platform. So I had to make it very clear. I don't get that many clients from my YouTube platform. I've probably gotten like 2 ever. Most of them come from the methods that I teach. And I teach them in the course and I show people how to do it. It's the same thing we're talking about. And I think that's a really important distinction. So when I started to make that distinction, well, people were like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. Because they're always looking for reasons why you're not what you say you are. People are not, they're never going to, it's confirmation bias. When they believe you're a certain way, or they're used to people like you behaving a certain way, they're going to look for proof of it until you directly assess the problem with logical points. However, you don't want to be a reactive salesman. Like, you don't want them to come to you with a thing and then you respond with a thing. And then they come to you with another thing, you're like, respond to that thing. Because then even if you do sell your service, it will forever be a reactive relationship. They'll be paying you $2,000 a month, but they'll be like, hey, what's up with this? And you'll be like, this is what's up. There's no trust. Even like you're selling them even after they've paid. And so anybody who's giving you things to react to, so you react to them constantly, that's not a client you want. You want that mutual trust.
It makes sense. Yeah. So they have a couple of things maybe, like you said, out there already, or at least ready to go, where I can send them to kind of knock that objection out before it comes up.
Exactly. Like, you don't even want to, the only objections that you want to narrow down your sales calls to the point where the only objection you're getting is price.
Right. Sam showed me a couple of good things he does with Google Slides.
Yeah.
He has like a couple slides where it's like just a quick little outline of the process, like, lead magnet to landing page to lead form to lead, and then that goes to you. Like just a quick little breakdown. So if anybody ever asks him what the process is like, he could just shoot that over. And it's nice and pretty, and it's a visual, and it's like, okay, no. I thought that was a cool touch.
Yeah, it is a good touch, man. And that's a lot of markets are very responsive to just visuals, and like, I have one from my agency where we show people like, cost per lead for a webinar, the typical conversion rate, like these sorts of things. So yeah, like those little visuals are super helpful. And then just any way where you can show them the method, because here's the thing, man, is the problem with though the trail we're going off into is, again, it's selling the method. You want to bring up the method after they see what it's capable of doing, because like it's the same as like getting into business in the first place. You don't get into business knowing the technical. You get into business with like kind of a vision of what it could be, and then you're kind of uncovering the technical along the way. It's the same thing with this, like, like, hey, I'm passionate about, and I want to help real estate agents focus on what matters to them, which is putting families in homes, or if you find out that they like working with young couples, putting young couples in homes, or whatever it might be. They may even have something. I know some real estate agents that focus primarily on like immigrants. Like they want to help people who aren't native to these states, find good homes, which is a really cool little like sub niche, It's like, I'm passionate about helping those people find those people and make it happen, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so yeah, I kind of forget where that train of thought was going, but I think that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Cool.
I had one more, another thing I wanted to ask was, how do you feel about, like, if they ask you something like, so like, where did you study, or what are your credentials, or what, like, do you have a degree? Like, is it, I've heard from other people that a good tactic might be to say, like, I've studied under, and you mentioned somebody who's already established in the space. Like, you feel that's ethical?
Yeah, you can tell them you're studying under me. You can say like, yeah, like, my direct one-on-one mentor is somebody who's, made his clients, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and has run an agency for about 2 years. And I'm just learning under him, just applying the same things that he's teaching me. And you can also, like, it's very industry dependent, but you can also, a lot of people will appreciate you just saying, no, I don't have a proper degree, but I've never found I needed one in order to get clients results,
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, a lot of people will respect that. They're like, if I felt like I needed a degree to get you results, I'd go and get one.
Yeah, better to be upfront. Then they feel, well, if he's telling me this, he must be a stand-up guy. He's not trying.
Exactly.
Around.
Yeah, you want people to work with you, like, and that's a beautiful thing about very individualized business model, which is we're working in a very individualized business model. Like, they're really working with you. Like, yes, they're getting the service, but also you want them to be working with you because of you, which is why I've really pulled back the curtain on a lot of like my belief system. It's actually made me a lot of money. And not a lot of money. It's made the money that I make easier to make, and it's made it more enjoyable to make. Because I'm not trying to sell myself after they've paid, because people don't run into things they didn't know about,
Yeah. Let them thing up front so that.
Yeah.
Fancy.
It's a filter, and if somebody honestly doesn't want to work with you because you don't have a degree, yet you have a team that is totally capable of getting them results, then I think they have some whacked worldviews anyway, and you may not work with them. That's not a very entrepreneurial mindset. That's a very closed mindset. And even if you do get them results, they may not feel stable with them. They may feel like, they should be paying you less because you don't have the right credentials. Yeah. So there's all kinds of broken mechanisms in that thought process.
Right.
Yeah. That's why it's important to, be upfront. Like, I think that's, like with myself, I'm very open about like my faith. I think it separates me a little bit. And I think it's supposed to, like, I don't separate business and belief system. I think it's supposed to separate. And then like, I think like Gary Vee's, like, he's the first like internet business guy to like swear a lot.
Yeah.
Did two things for him. One, it made people talk about him, which is really smart. And two, it polarized him. And then the people who loved it really loved it. people who hated it really hated it, and that's fine. You know, personally, I wouldn't swear anywhere near as much as the guy does. But also in terms of business, kudos, man. You've got your market made, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, there's no gray area. Either you're with them or you're not. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And if you're with them, you're really with them.
yeah.
Yeah. And you make a lot more money with a handful of people really with you than a bunch of people kind of just neutral about you.
Yeah, because the loyalty is there.
Exactly.
They really love what you do, and they're gonna stay.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, don't interject your personality, man. Like don't even think about interjecting your personality. Just intentionally not avoid doing it.
Yeah, just like the old saying, be yourself.
Yeah, just be yourself. And then there's the concept, I learned this from a great sales coach that I've gotten. He said, your offer is a reflection of you. And once you realize that, it gets much easier to sell it. And so, you know, people are buying more than what you have to offer. They always are. And if you can attach yourself to your offer in a special way, and not even attach yourself to your offer is a reflection of you. Your ability to get results, what you're selling, it's all a reflection of who you are. And ultimately, like even when you buy a product from Amazon and it's just like for example, like it's a random audio recorder that I've got, or this pair of blue light glasses, or like a book or whatever, like I'm investing in Jeff, because it's like that is his thing, So, and when you realize that, it makes it operating a lot easier because you don't view it as a separate entity from yourself. And the way that helps sales is, if you're a naturally confident and secure person, then you're going to be confident and secure in your product. And it's going to be much easier for people to want to invest with you. So, yeah. No need to separate the worlds,
What do you recommend for, like you said, you can make a quick landing page or something like ClickFunnels?
Yeah, like ClickFunnels will be fine, or like really whatever you want to do. Like, and it doesn't even, like, a website would be fine, but also like a PDF explaining what you do is also fine. You send it their way. Like, hey, you'd be like, hey, we're in the process of building a website, or we haven't had the time to build a website, or we found that a website was an unnecessary expense. We have a PDF, like something like that. Like there's, in general, the reason you got to ask, why does somebody even want a website? It's like, because they just want like a place to figure out who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Like Facebook, my Facebook page makes me more money than my official Core Media ClickFunnels site, because it's just a place to figure out who you are and what you do and who you help, and proof that it works.
Right. So that's probably another thing hurting me, is that my Facebook page isn't optimized for business at all. So
yeah, maybe worth looking into for sure.
If I reach out to somebody and I try to speak business to them, they kind of look at my page and they're like, who is this guy? There's nothing.
Yeah. No, and you can definitely see. So let me show you. I'm very tactical about that. So I'll show you my page here and sort of the thought process behind what I've built. Oh, this isn't pulling up for me. You notice Facebook's UI is kind of broken sometimes?
I really never on it too much.
Yeah? Okay, that's all right. Yeah. Well, it's so you look at mine, I've got like a picture of me. I'm not a speaker. I really don't consider myself a speaker, but there's something about being on stage. I spoke at this like home business conference thing that like a friend of a friend referred me to. And I was like, hey, it's a good picture. I'll throw it up because it builds authority, nice profile photo, basic funnel, some proof, like, out in the Netherlands with a client of mine. So I'm kind of showing, my clients are doing well. Some photos. It just looks good. Testimonial from a client. Photos. Testimonial from a student. I get students and clients from Facebook. I get one-on-one helping them with their agency, and also done for you marketing clients from Facebook. I do both. So testimonial from a student, showing Keaton out at my apartment. 2 students there getting their rings soon. Actually, that's a picture of my girlfriend at the time. So yeah, like, it's very, and I mix personal in, like, obviously that picture of my girlfriend at the time, like, you don't have to separate the two worlds. I think people like knowing who they're working with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always wondered if I should maybe just make a fresh Facebook page and just start from scratch and kind of just reach out with that. But I'm not sure if that'll look strange because it's blank
Yeah.
and I have no friends.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah. Well, you can also, if you're afraid of your like existing friends seeing posts, you can segregate your friends list into categories and groups. So then you can start posting business stuff and they won't see it. Yeah, I know that's a problem for a lot of students.
People who don't know what's going on, like commenting stupid stuff on anything that I'm trying to do business wise. You know, like I might post like a stupid meme, not knowing what I'm trying to do and make me look bad.
Yeah, right, 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 for sure. No, I've dealt with that for sure. Like, I've got friends that like comment like, "What the heck is this, dude? Like, what are you doing?" You know, it's like,
Yeah,
you know, and so you just gotta segregate your friends. And like now I'm not segregated. Like now, like I tried for a long time to like keep what I'm doing separate from my personal life or my social life, but like at some point, if you're gonna take it seriously, like people are gonna know, you know, like so. But obviously, you don't want them to know until you've got a little momentum, because otherwise, it's like people can tear you down. Like that's the thing, man. When you're starting something, people really do like tearing you down. And
yeah, absolutely,
I experienced that. Now,
absolutely.
at this point, I'm very proud of what I do, and I don't segregate my friends list. Like I use the same. My Instagram's the same one I used when I was like 15 or 16, just for personal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I've kind of it's a part of the journey, figuring out how it works with your social life.
Yeah, like you said, it's easier when you have momentum because they could just there's proof to what you're doing a little bit. It
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
puts questions to bed. Like,
yeah.
you know, this
It
is
does. It really
working. So
does because like when I first started putting out like for example YouTube content and I was making like business YouTube content. One of the things that I got was my girlfriend at the time. All of her brothers were going to this business school here locally, and they all created like accounts and left like mean comments on the videos. Uh,
wow.
yeah, like it's just a part. It's just a part of it, man. You know, and like I'm really not the type to. I'm really I'd consider myself a fairly humble dude. I recognize where I came from. I recognize that I could lose all this in like 2 or 3 months if the right series of actions happened. But at this point, I'm literally overlooking the business college that they are going to from my apartment, and my next door neighbor is their professor. And so, the tide turns pretty quickly, you
Yeah.
know, and that's just part of the journey, man. And, you can't be bitter or resentful about it. Otherwise it just sucks valuable energy and time. Yeah.
How would you feel pricing should be based? I was talking to Sam and he charges a flat rate for every client,
Mm-hmm.
which is 2,500.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard methods where you can take the what's the word, what's the phrase I'm looking for? The I can't think of it. The value, something with the value. Basically where you take how much value you can bring them and you base your price off that. So if they're selling expensive homes and they're going to be taking home a lot of commission on potential sales, then you can charge them more money.
Yeah. No, value-based pricing. Yeah.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Yeah, no, I'd say that's super smart. I'd say Sam's range is really tactical. I like his range. 2,500 a month is a good place to start. And you want people reaching a little bit. Like you don't want people who can't afford it, who make an exception and it hurts them later. You want them right, just barely able to afford it, or more than enough that it's not even that big of an expense for them. You know, and that's a good line I feel like for that industry where that's at. 2,500 a month. Like you have to be doing pretty well for that to not be a huge expense, but also you have to be really sold on the concept. If so it's right on that line. Like the cheaper you are, the less commitment you're going to get from your clients.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
100%.
but
Yeah,
yeah, no value it.
no value. They don't see any value. What they pay is ultimately a reflection of the value they see. You know, and it's like even if they see a lot of value in the offer, then they're offered a $500 a month. They're going to mentally treat it like they're only spending $500 a month, so it's not that important. Even if it's making them 10 grand a month back, like it's it's only $500, so it must not be that important. So literally, like, you're doing them a pretty big service by pricing yourself this way, because it will force them into action and to follow the steps that you have for their business too, because it's not a purely done for you. There's a lot of training for them as well, expectation setting. And so with my clients as well, like I had a client pay me like $8,500 up front for us to build him out like a video sales letter funnel. And it required him to like record a 40-minute video. And he had the video done in like a day, and it's just because he committed, and like $8,500 was a lot for him at that point. He was making probably $30,000 a month with his course. So.
Nice. Yeah. So I was thinking about, maybe in the very beginning, just take Sam's approach of having like that flat price where it's not too crazy, especially being somebody like myself who's brand new and I have no clients to speak of. So maybe just to get a foot in the door.
Yeah.
Just give them something manageable where I can still profit and it's not insanely discounted to where it seems like I'm desperate.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah, no, and you never want to do that. Like extreme discounts, they're kind of risky. Like the only time that I would do it, like for yourself, as an example, like the only time that I would do it is if there's a previous existing relationship of some kind, or you see long-term value of some kind and they do too. And so like, for example, like one of my top students just recently got back into coaching, and I very well could have charged this student $10,000 to work with me again because of how much he's grown. He paid me $3,000, I think, and this was like 8 months back. So, my prices have raised since then. Paid me $3,000, which was my normal rate, and he's come back around. I very well could have charged him $10,000, but I just charged him $3,000 again. And I basically said, the other $7,000 is like, that value is found, 100 times over in me getting you to where I want to get you. There's no reason this guy isn't making 7 figures by the end of 2021, and I see that. And I want to be the sole reason why he is. Because not only is it an amazing testimonial and a case study, but it's confidence in what I do. It's an amazing relationship. And so, you make deals when that's the case, and then like deals come when there's a little bit of honor involved, but otherwise, you just don't price cut.
Yeah, that's good. And so that's the approach I'll take then. So whenever we do speak of pricing me and somebody, I'll just say, this is the price, and it's been set up enough to where they feel it's worth it.
Yeah, right. And then another strategy that you could utilize too is aiming high and then bargaining down. You never want to aim low, and then like if you aim low, you can never recover from that low. But if you aim high, you can recover from that high. And like even with us, like and it wasn't really intentional. It's just I wanted to get you in. But like even with us, this is the normal price, but I charge you this. You're way, way, way more likely to do this. And same with agency clients. Like if you want to charge them $2,500, I would start by saying like $3,200 or something. It's $3,200 a month. How does that hit you?
Yeah.
See the response. If they're willing to pay, go with it, but give them a discount and then see how they respond at that point. You're like, all right, it seems like it's a little too expensive for you. Obviously, we're fairly new. We're trying to figure out, we're doing market research. We've gotten a lot of great results with people we've worked with so far, but we just want to fill our business up. So what do you think about 2,500? And that's not so much of a dip that it seems desperate, and also it's transparent and it fits all the bills. So yeah, or even give them a reason. So like, you can even throughout your strategy session, you'll naturally hear reasons why you'd love to work with this person, money aside. Like let's say they've been doing it for 15 years. Like you can say, I don't know a single real estate agent that's been at it for 15 years. I'd love to give you a discount because I'd love to work with like a seasoned vet, like honor them in a way with it,
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
How do you feel about, I guess, going into a lot of detail, or maybe even, I don't know if you ever closed over messages, or you always take it to a call?
I almost always take it to a call. Yeah.
So you always take it off of whatever platform you're on to a call?
Yeah, I never try and close over text. And even if I do, I don't think it's really a close because they didn't really talk to me. Like I just don't think, not with the services of the price range that we're talking about. Yeah. Because in some way you could consider like me selling a course as a form of me selling over text because I'm not talking to anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with agency clients, there's a lot more moving parts. So yeah, you want to do it over the phone. I wouldn't close anyway else.
And what do you think is the best payment collection? Stripe? I know that's what I've always heard.
Yeah, Stripe, and then you can use either, and I'll text this to you real quick on WhatsApp. So you can use either Invoicing, Stripe.com, and link it to your bank, and then for invoicing, invoicing software, you got two options that I prefer. You got payfunnels.com, you've got simpleinvoices.com, and then you have built-in Stripe invoicing. The problem with Stripe invoicing is they don't give you a lot of options. Like with payfunnels and simple invoices, you can auto bill people. And I don't know if Simple Invoices does it, but Payfunnels lets you actually set how long the auto bill lasts for, so how many payments total they'll make before it cancels automatically. I think Simple Invoices does the same thing. I honestly haven't used Simple Invoices ever. I've just heard a lot about it, and I know it's like the same thing.
Okay.
And then Stripe is like a one-time payment. So like I use Payfunnels for you. So that's what it looks like on the receiving end.
And is that integrated with Stripe or the two separate?
It's separate, but it's a plugin. So like you can go to Stripe and you can go like add-ons and then just like search Payfunnels and plug it in. Yeah.
It works in conjunction with Stripe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So Stripe is what receives is that what receives the payment and sends it to your account, and
yeah,
this is what sends the invoice for them to information.
Yeah. All Payfunnels, all Simple Invoices do is create a landing page that sends data to Stripe. Because Stripe has to have all the deals with all the banks in order to send money. Payfunnels is just an invoicing software. It just creates the landing page. But they're not a big enough corporation to actually create deals with banks so they can send money to banks. Stripe is. So, yeah.
Okay, I'll check that out. It should be pretty easy to set up. I think I heard Stripe.
Yeah, it's fairly simple. Stripe. All you got to do is Stripe. Go to stripe.com, create an account, set up a business account if you have one, or if you don't have one yet. If you do have one, use it. You can also use a personal just to test with. Write yourself a $5 invoice, see if it goes through. Yeah, see if it goes through. Or let's like have your friend give you $1, just see what happens. You can set Stripe to pay out. I have mine pay out daily right now for cash flow reasons. But you can set it to pay out daily, weekly, or monthly. And it just stores money until the next payout. So it just all the money that you're getting just pays it out. So every day I kind of have a little bump of revenue. I could do like weekly and have like a big chunk of revenue coming every week, but I just prefer daily. So you can set payout, set what bank account it goes to. You can have multiple Stripe accounts. So like for me right now, I have like an agency Stripe account, then I have like a coaching/education Stripe account. I batch those two. And it doesn't require making a new account. So you can just have different dashboards so you can track different numbers. So yeah, it's good stuff. And like, let's say you have different services, for example, like you start serving a different niche with your agency. You can have the real estate agency Stripe, and you can have like let's say you go with, I don't know, therapists or something, separate the two, track their numbers individually. It's really helpful.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really nice.
How do you handle your contractors as far as servicing the clients? Do you log into the client's business account on Facebook, the ad manager, or do you have one? You run everything through your own or their own?
So my agency, we have a business account that we all share, me and my team, and then we create ad accounts in that business manager, and we have clients' cards on file associated with those ad accounts. So whenever we get a new client, we just create a new ad account, get their card on file, and get any assets they already have. If they already have a pixel, if they already have a page, stuff like that, we get access to that. So I can just send them a request, basically. I get their page link or their pixel ID, and I just send a request, and they'll get a notification on their phone and accept it because we'll have access to it. So then we have their card and any other data they've got. For your niche, they may not have any of that, so you can just create an account and then put their card info in.
Okay, because that's what my contractor was explaining to me. I wanted to make sure I understood him right, is that because he had said that he doesn't use their ad account because it can get messy if they have a bunch of old campaigns in there and it might get confusing. Mm-hmm. But he said what he does is he uses his. So the way that would work is the only information he would need from the client is their credit card info. That's it?
Credit card info and their page. If they have a Facebook page, and if they have a pixel, you're going to want access to it as well.
That's actually easier than having to get all their permissions and their
Oh, it's way easier.
I guess that's why he does it then.
Yep.
Saves a lot of time. He said he used to have a lot of problems with permissions from his clients.
And I would recommend too that you just have your contractor film a little screen recording, upload it to YouTube like unlisted, or put it on a drive, and then just send your clients that screen recording so they just follow the steps. So then onboarding is just sending them a link.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah. We've done similar. I have my media buyer send my clients a Loom. If you know what Loom is, you just send them a Loom screen recording. Yeah. It's free software. It's really nice. You record it, and literally within 2 seconds of you being done recording, it's generated a link and it's uploaded. So it's uploading the file as you're recording it. So there's no like upload wait time. So you can record a half-hour screen recording in this. So whenever a client asks a really complex question that requires me to like show a technicality, I'll just click on Loom, turns on my webcam. My webcam's like on the bottom left, and I'll just record the answer to their question, link them it.
And you screen share, you show them how to do everything. Is that?
Yeah, if you're having like an issue with like, whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good way to onboard, good way to send information. Good way to go a little above and beyond, just like sending videos.
Yeah, it's more professional than going back and forth through text. Like, okay, now do this, and now do this, and then do this.
Way more, yeah, 100%. Yeah. And then you want to make it really easy. So a really good mindset to have, or a good perspective to operate from, is you've got external customers and internal customers. So you want to make the workflow for clients easy. You also want to make the workflow for team easy. So your job is to make the workflow for all parties a seamless experience as best as possible. Now, you're not going to do it right the first time around. You're not even going to do it right the 50th time around. It's always a steady improvement. There's no arrival at a good workflow. It's always just noticing issues and creating workflow or processes that solve them. And if you're thinking that way from the start, it'll allow you to scale much easier moving forward, because then you're doing your best to productize your service, which means it, just like on Amazon, all I have to do is click buy now, boom, done. Everything's handled. You want your client experience to get as close to, like, from them saying yes to the moment they're getting results. It takes as little amount of time and as little amount of headache as possible. So you're creating workflows and processes that allow that to happen. And that's one thing that I'm working on right now massively internally with my agency, is because we're running into some issues. Like there's a lot more technicality involved in some of our accounts than we'd wish. Like random issues with Vimeo, for example, because we host all of our clients like webinars on Vimeo. And then like random issues with like pixels, like double firing for some reason, like why else happen. And so it's just like, there's all kinds of issues. And so I'm always working on that stuff. Like there's always, if I ever don't know what to do, I could just look at my business and think, what could I create a workflow around? What's an issue that I could create a workflow around? And then there's endless work for me to do.
It's funny that you mentioned that, how you're always getting better at it, because that's kind of something that's like giving me a little anxiety, thinking about, oh, well, what if I actually do get to those steps and then my onboarding process looks choppy, and then that looks unprofessional.
Oh, that's the thing, man, is I tried a new onboarding process recently, and it was choppier than anything you'd be able to do. Like literally, it was so bad. But like, it's expectation setting. So if I tell the client that it's going to be easy and then it's not easy, there's a problem. But I didn't explicitly say that it would be easy. I was just testing a new process, So it all comes back to expectation setting. So you never want to judge yourself where your client hasn't judged you.
Yeah, that's good. Because if you make yourself seem like if you're judging yourself, then they think, oh, he must be doing something wrong because he's
Exactly. Yeah, don't judge yourself where your client hasn't judged you. Your client's the only judge of how well you're doing.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because for some reason, that I guess that's like an irrational fear. I always think like, oh, what if? It looks bad. You know what I mean?
That's a bad place to operate from, because then you're going to be optimizing things that don't need optimized.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you just feel like it helps. And self-confidence in your offer and your workflows is important, but it's almost like, like, well, they're not asking, so don't fix something that isn't broken just because it feels productive.
Mm-hmm. How do you handle it? Whose responsibility is that to, like you said, you ask your contractors to make up a little quick tutorial how to onboard? Is that something you approach them and you say, listen, could you get this going for me? Or
in your stage, I would, once you've got a little revenue in place and he's getting paid, be just like, hey, obviously we're starting to get a little more business. I'd love if you did that. Or, I mean, it depends on who he is. If he's the type of guy to just do it just because he likes you and you guys got a good relationship now, it's very up to your discretion, man. There's no stage. It's so hard to tell you this is the stage when you ask for the loan. Like, I don't know. I asked for mine after we realized that it would be really helpful, and I was already paying him a little bit of money, and our onboarding calls were taking a little longer than they need to.
Yeah, I guess like you said, it's all relationship dependent on the type of person they are. Some might be really willing and some might not want to do it.
Yeah, there's a really good book called, and it's one of the gaps that I struggle with as like a coach helping people with their agency is the relational element. Because I don't know your contractor. I don't know your clients. Right. All I know is mine, and all I know is the math behind what makes your business click. But I don't know the relationship end of things. So a really good book is called Emotional Intelligence. And it coined the concept of the EQ. You got IQ, but then you got EQ. And there's a lot of science that says EQ is emotional intelligence quota, is way more important than IQ in success in business. Because business really is just people. Like, it's important to be able to logically think, but if you have emotional intelligence and you can operate with people, that's going to take you far further than any understanding of math, science, logical, computerized like thinking, So it's a really good book. And I'm not saying there's no merit to logical thinking. It's the marrying of the two. And so my goal as your coach is to be that kind of computerized robotic logic, while then I'm allowing you to handle the human side. And if you need help with it, I will, naturally, because I'll be able to weigh it and come up with a solution. But it's those little things like you're saying, like, when to ask for a loan. It's really hard to say because there's so many variables there, because humans are so complex, and I don't know what he would want to do for you. Is he, how much money would he be willing to make from you before he's willing to do extra tasks like that? I don't know. It also depends on how complex your onboarding process is with your clients. If it's not worth making, you don't have to.
Yeah.
And at some point, then also you're splitting hairs on a topic that really doesn't. Just, at some point it'll be necessary. It's just a little idea that I had like 4 months ago that really helped.
Yeah, that's like minor stuff to be concerned about, I guess. Deal with it when it comes up.
Mm-hmm. Most important is client attraction and client result systems, man.
Oh, speaking of which, I wrote this down. I wanted to get back to it quickly before we wrap up.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned, I forgot his name. You said he goes into Facebook groups and just writes posts.
Mm-hmm.
Reaching out, showing past results.
Yeah, Colin Turner.
That doesn't get him flagged for spam?
There's plenty of Facebook groups that don't like it. But that's the thing, is he's not selling anything. So in the post, he's saying, here's the result we got, and he's explaining how they got it. And then he's also thanking the community admins and the leader of the group for their help in making it happen. So he's pointing back responsibility to the leaders of the group, right? Which then, like, they can't deny that.
Do you think maybe he reaches out to them first and gets their okay, or he just wings it?
Oh, this is a method that I teach. I use it all the time. So, like, I've gotten clients from, so for example, like Sam Ovens. Are you familiar with Sam Ovens?
I've heard the name. I think you said he was one of your mentors, right?
Yeah, I've got his programs. It's really good stuff. So the Uplevel course, which is like a $6,000 program, talks about operating a scaled information product business. And there's like, out of the 1,200 people that are in there, I think like 150 are 7-figure earners. and 500 are multiple 6. And then, so it's like a really powerful community. And so I've gotten clients just hanging out in there and basically saying, here's the result I got in my business. Thank you, Sam. And then people message me wanting help, you know? So like, you know, there's always, always, always room for more clients. Like people always want to spend more money solving their issues, you know? So yeah. And you're not selling anything, like you're just sharing success, you know? And it's not like you can get yourself mentally and like lie to yourself that you're not trying to get clients, but it's all about how you honor the people who are operating the group, you know? And then it's also all about how, you know, like you don't want to just join a group and then just post and say, message me if you need help, and then do nothing else. Like you want to be active in these communities. Reputation, you know, that's a big focus. It's because you can't just develop reputation coming in, dropping in a piece of content and dipping.
Yeah.
Respond to the comments, help people in the community. You know, that's one thing, you know, a good key performance indicator, a good KPI of this method, the organic market attraction method. And you go through I don't know how far you went in the course. We teach it. You should check out that training. A good key performance indicator is that you're having 1 to 5 conversations with business owners over Messenger every day.
Okay. Keep that in mind.
Yeah. It's a good way to measure trajectory. So like, you know, until you have return on investment, which is the ultimate KPI of any business, until you have that as a beginner, it's important to attach to other KPIs. And that's one that you can't lose with. Talk to business owners. 1 conversation minimum every day. Even if it's the same one, that's okay. Keep them going. That's cool too.
Yeah.
But in a perfect world, it's new ones every now and again. But, you know, also I'm in a position with my business where talking to previous buyers of my stuff makes me as much money as going out and getting new people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thought process. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Cool. I value our calls, Teddy. I'm enjoying these. This is good.
So it's great. I expected nothing less, but it's awesome.
Cool. But I'm glad to do that. I'm looking forward to launching you off, man. It's really, you've got a great perspective. You've got a great operating mindset, and I'm just excited to start making you some money, man. Like really, I think it's really not far away at all.
Thank you, man. I feel the same. I feel like I'm kind of hovering right there about it, like on a breakthrough somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a fun place to be, you know, and I'm telling you, once you get your first client, nothing's ever the same. It's a total breakthrough. It's great. It's a wild feeling, especially when they pay you like over multiple 4 figures. Like if you can get your first client, and I'm not saying if, like it's like, I'm not sure if it's going to happen when it happens, because it will happen. It's kind of just a matter of trajectory. You know, it really just kind of changes your perspective on everything. And it's a high. It really is. It's pushed me to get to where I'm at in business because it's just fun. Like it really is.
I mean, I remember when I had my first ever discovery call. Even that was a high because I never thought I'd even get that far. So I can, when you actually land somebody. I'm
telling you, it's a crazy feeling. And then looking back to like a year ago where I was scraping to have a discovery call to now where I've just got so much business that I'm turning off sales calls to save time. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So it really is cool, and I'm just happy I'm helping you out. So yeah, just let me know if you need anything over WhatsApp. You got the Facebook group. Connect with Colin Turner, man. I think that's the guy that I brought up who's doing 6 figures, and he's just using Facebook groups like we teach. Go through the modules in the course called Going Straight to Market and Becoming a Converter. Those are the 2 modules where I focus on. Whoops. Hey, Teddy, lost you on the Zoom, man. Oh, that's all right. I'll wrap up here. I just wanted to make sure that you got some good work to do throughout the next week. So, Connect with Colin Turner. Go through those 2 modules that I told you about. We got Going Straight to Market and then Becoming a Converter. Those are the 2 modules. Becoming a Converter is basically, you know, my summarized theory on sales. And I think it's about 40 minutes long. So, you know, it just keeps it simple. And I think it's really important to keep it simple. And then going straight to market talks about the organic market attraction, how to handle the meetings that come from that, how to spur on conversation over Messenger, that sort of stuff. And then connect with Colin, and just let me know if you need anything over WhatsApp, man. Cool. Yeah, and Colin would be a good resource for you as well. And I think Colin's a bit more busy than Sam. Sam is obviously generating a lot of appointments, but he's got a lot of business lined up for February, and he's not doing much client work yet. He's got them like prepared for February. Colin is doing work now, so he might be a little harder to reach, but he's still a super valuable guy to speak to. And he's one of those guys that overcomplicated things, and it took investing in a coach, obviously working with myself and buying a course and all these sorts of things to really simplify things. So he will be a great resource for you, Teddy, because you naturally keep things very simple, and that's super important. You don't ask questions that are off in the weeds. You don't split hairs, and Colin is exactly that way too. So he may even be a good friend. So definitely connect with him. All right. Well, thanks for your call, Teddy. Apologies on the laptop stuff, but I'm glad I could reach you here. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Perfect, Teddy. All right. Appreciate you, man. Speak soon. Bye.